The day my husband threw me out while I was 6 months pregnant, his boys laughed like it was a comedy show. I had $43 in my pocket and nowhere to go. 3 years later, I pulled up to his mama's house in a car worth more than his entire block. This is how I did it. Before we get into this story, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because you're about to hear how I went from sleeping on floors to signing checks with more zeros than my ex ever dreamed of. And trust me, you'll want to stick around for the part where I show up at his family reunion. Now, let's get into it. I need you to understand something right from the start. I wasn't always the woman I am today. 3 years ago, I was standing on a lawn in the middle of the night, 6 months pregnant, watching my clothes get thrown out the front door like garbage. My husband, Deshaun, was the one throwing them. And his friends, they were inside laughing about it like it was the funniest thing they'd ever seen. Let me take you back to that night, because that's where everything changed. It was a Thursday, and Deshaun had his weekly poker night with his boys, Travis, Kenny, and Brandon. These were the same guys who'd been in his life since high school, the same ones who never grew up, never moved forward, just stayed stuck in the same cycle of drinking, gambling, and talking big about nothing. Every Thursday night they'd come over, get loud, smoke, drink, and act like my living room was a club. Usually I'd just go to the bedroom and ignore it. But that particular night, I couldn't. I was 6 months pregnant and exhausted. My back was killing me, my feet were swollen, and the baby wouldn't stop kicking. I just wanted to sleep. But the music was blasting, they were yelling over cards, and smoke was filling up the whole apartment. I came out of the bedroom around 11 o'clock and politely asked Deshaun if they could keep it down. That's all I said. Keep it down because I need to rest. He looked at me like I'd just insulted his entire bloodline. In front of his boys, he said, "Man, she always complaining about something. Can't even let a man have one night with his friends." Travis laughed and said something like, "That's what happens when you tie yourself down too early, bro." They all laughed. I felt my face get hot, but I kept my cool. I looked at Deshaun and said, "I'm not asking for much. I'm asking for respect in my own home." That's when he stood up. And I'll never forget the look in his eyes. It wasn't anger, it was disgust. He said, "If you don't like it, then leave." Simple. I thought he was playing. I laughed it off like, "Boy, stop playing with me." But he wasn't playing. He walked past me to our bedroom and started grabbing my stuff. Clothes, shoes, my toiletries, everything. He came back with armfuls of my things and threw them out the front door onto the lawn. I stood there, frozen. His friends had gone quiet now, but they were watching like it was entertainment. I said, "Deshaun, what are you doing? I'm pregnant with your baby." He said, "And? You still getting on my nerves. You can come back when you learn how to act right." Then he went back inside and slammed the door in my face. Just like that. No hesitation, no remorse. I stood outside in the cold for what felt like hours, but was probably only 10 minutes. Neighbors were peeking through curtains. Someone across the street had their phone out recording. I gathered as much of my stuff as I could carry, and I called my best friend Angela. She pulled up 30 minutes later, and I cried the entire ride to her apartment. That night, sleeping on her couch with my belly pressed against a throw pillow, I made myself a promise. I would never let anyone make me feel that small again. Living with Angela was humbling. She was amazing, don't get me wrong. She gave me a place to stay, shared her food, and never once made me feel like a burden. But I felt like one anyway. I was working at a call center, taking angry customer calls 8 hours a day while my belly grew bigger and my spirit felt smaller. Deshaun didn't call, didn't text, didn't check on his own child growing inside me. When I tried to reach out about doctor appointments or baby stuff, he'd leave me on read or send one-word responses. 2 months later, my water broke during my shift. Angela rushed me to the hospital and I had my baby girl alone. No partner, no family in the waiting room, just me, Angela, and the nurses. When they placed my daughter on my chest, I named her Trinity because she represented a new beginning, a holy reset. I looked at her tiny face and swore I'd give her a better life than the one I had. Deshaun didn't even show up to meet her. I texted him a picture, and he replied 3 days later with, "She cute. Child support, forget it." He quit his job at the warehouse on purpose so he wouldn't have to pay. I applied for government assistance, got approved for WIC and food stamps, but it still wasn't enough. I was drowning, working part-time because daycare was too expensive, barely sleeping because Trinity had colic, and watching my bank account hit zero over and over again. Some nights I'd sit on Angela's bathroom floor and just cry. Not because I missed Deshaun, I didn't, but because I felt trapped. Then, one night, I was scrolling through social media at 3 in the morning while feeding Trinity, and I saw this girl I went to high school with. She was posting about her online boutique, showing off deposits, talking about dropshipping and e-commerce. I didn't even know what dropshipping was, but I was curious. I started watching YouTube videos, free tutorials about how to start an online business with little to no money. How to find suppliers, how to market on Instagram, how to build a brand. I used my tax return that year, $1,200, and started my first online store. I sold jewelry and accessories, affordable stuff that everyday women could buy. I worked on it during Trinity's naps, late at night after she went to sleep, any free moment I had. My first sale was a pair of hoop earrings for $16. I made $32 profit after costs, and I cried. It sounds silly now, but that $32 felt like proof that I could do something on my own. Slowly, the business started growing. I'd make $100 one week, then $200 the next. I reinvested every single penny back into inventory. Angela helped watch Trinity when I needed to pack orders or film content for Instagram. By the end of that first year, I'd made my first $1,000 month. I'll never forget that feeling. I literally screamed in Angela's living room at midnight when I saw the total. That's when I knew I wasn't crazy. This could actually work. I moved into my own apartment when Trinity turned 1. It was small, just a 1-bedroom. But it was mine. I put her crib in the bedroom with me and turned the living room into my office and packaging station. Deshaun saw my posts on social media around this time and started texting me. "We should talk. I miss you. Trinity needs her father." I blocked him. Not out of anger, but out of clarity. I didn't have time for distractions, and that's all he ever was. Year 2 was when everything shifted. My business hit 6 figures. I'm talking $100,000 in revenue. I couldn't believe it. I expanded to 3 different online stores, each targeting different audiences. I hired Angela as my first employee because she'd been there from day 1. Trinity was thriving in a good daycare, and I was finally able to breathe. I still drove my used Honda and lived modestly because I was saving aggressively. I took online courses, networked with other Black women entrepreneurs, and invested in myself like my life depended on it, because it did. By year 3, I had multiple revenue streams. My stores were doing well, but I also launched digital products, courses teaching other women how to build online businesses like I did. That's when I hit 7 figures, $1 million in revenue. I bought myself a Mercedes G-Wagon, all black with custom rims. I moved into a beautiful townhouse with a backyard for Trinity. I enrolled her in a prestigious preschool. I got a personal trainer, updated my wardrobe, started doing my lashes and nails regularly. Not because I was trying to impress anyone, but because I finally had the time and money to invest in myself. I wasn't doing any of this for revenge. I want to make that clear. I was doing it because I loved my daughter, and I loved myself enough to build something real. But I won't lie, there was a part of me that knew eventually Deshaun would see what he lost, and when that day came, I wanted to make sure I was standing tall. That day came sooner than I expected. I was at the mall with Trinity, and I ran into Deshaun's cousin, Nicole. We'd always been cool, so we stopped to chat. She told me Deshaun was still living with his mama, still broke, still hanging with the same friends doing the same nothing. Then she mentioned his mama was having her 60th birthday party next month, and his sister had told her to invite me. I hadn't spoken to his family in years, but his sister and I always had a good relationship. She didn't agree with what he did to me. I decided right then that I was going to that party, not to start drama, not to brag, but because I wanted to show myself how far I'd come. I wanted to walk into that space as the woman I'd become, not the girl who got thrown out. The day of the party, I pulled up in my G-Wagon. Trinity was in the back seat looking like an absolute princess in her pink dress and braids. I wore a cream-coloured pantsuit, designer but tasteful. My hair was laid, my skin was glowing, and I felt like $1 million because, well, I'd earned $1 million. I grabbed the expensive gift I'd bought for his mama and walked up to that house with my head high. When I walked through the door, the entire room went silent. I'm talking record scratch, movie scene silent. Every head turned. I saw Deshaun standing by the kitchen and his face went pale. His boys were there too, Travis, Kenny and Brandon, and suddenly they were all smiles like we were old friends. Funny how people switch up when they see success. Deshaun's mama came over and hugged me tight. She told me how proud she was of me, how good I looked, how beautiful Trinity had gotten. We talked for a bit, and I gave her the gift. She teared up and thanked me. That moment felt good, not because of Deshaun, but because she'd always treated me with kindness, and I wanted to honor that. Then Deshaun approached me. He was nervous. I could tell by the way he kept rubbing his hands together. He said, "Hey, you look good, real good." I said, "Thank you." He asked if we could talk privately, and against my better judgment, I agreed. We stepped outside onto the porch, and that's when he hit me with the apology. He said he was sorry for how he treated me, said he was going through stuff back then and didn't know how to handle it, said he wanted to be in Trinity's life more, and maybe we could try again, for her sake. I looked at him, really looked at him, and I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, not even satisfaction, just indifference. I smiled and said, "Deshaun, I appreciate the apology, but I'm good. I don't need anything from you. Trinity's doing great. I'm doing great. You didn't kick me out that night. You set me free. You showed me I didn't need you to survive, and honestly, I'm grateful for that lesson. But we're not getting back together. Not now. Not ever. Trinity deserves to see her mother respected, and you've never known how to do that." He tried to argue, tried to tell me people change, but I was already walking away. I grabbed Trinity, said my goodbyes to his mama and sister, and left. On the drive home, with Trinity sleeping peacefully in the back seat, I felt this overwhelming sense of peace. That night on the lawn was my rock bottom, but it was also my launch pad. I'd been thrown away like trash, but I turned myself into treasure. Here's what I learned through all of this. Your worst moment doesn't define you, it refines you. The pain I went through wasn't wasted. It taught me resilience. It taught me that I'm stronger than I ever imagined. Success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you believed. To every woman watching this who's been disrespected, discarded, or told she's not enough, I see you. I was you. And I'm here to tell you that your story doesn't end with someone else's cruelty. It begins there. Invest in yourself when no one else will. Protect your peace like it's your most valuable asset. And understand that the best revenge isn't showing off. It's showing up for yourself every single day until you become the person you were always meant to be. I didn't go back to that party to flaunt my success. I went back to remind myself of how far I'd come. And when I looked at Deshaun that day, I didn't see the man who hurt me. I saw a lesson I'd already graduated from. If this story inspired you, do me a favor, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment telling me what your comeback story is or what you're working on right now. Subscribe to this channel for more real-life stories about turning pain into power. And remember, they can throw you out, but they can't stop your glow-up. I'll see you in the next one. Stay blessed, stay focused, and stay winning.